You are listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope, the podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and I'm super excited to be back with Tamara Golden. Tamara is doing a 4-part series, and this is the 4th part. So if you haven't catch the other parts of their series, we're going to bundle them all together so you can catch every single one, or you can go back in the play and find them. Tamara is the owner and CEO of Journeywork Retreats, a retreat strategy and planning company operating across the US and worldwide, combining 20 plus years in travel and event planning and coaching. Tamara has developed a proprietary retreat strategy and planning process that helps you design, market, fill, and monetize your retreats. Through a range of services, Journeywork Retreats is committed to supporting coaches, healers, and transformation leaders like you in crafting retreats that accelerate outcomes for your clients, while increasing enrollments, referrals, and revenue for your business. Yes, we've gone over some amazing stuff, Tamara. Welcome back.
Thank you, Jana. It's so great to be back with you.
And on this episode, let's tell everybody what you're going to be discussing.
So today we're going to get into the revenue piece. So we've talked a little bit about when retreats are right for your business. What is a retreat? We've talked about the various elements. So today we're really going to get down into the weeds of how it is that retreats help entrepreneurs to increase their bottom line, right? To increase sales and to increase revenue.
I know, and there's so much more than just them showing up on how you can burst into that revenue stream. And by the way, retreats are coming back. I just got invited to 2 of them for 2022. So they're coming back.
They're coming back, and not only here in the US, but they're coming back overseas. I've got several retreat clients that are offering retreats overseas, and they have filled them. And filled them, during all of the things that keep happening in the media about this variant and that variant. So, there are people who really want and need to gather. They need to feel that connection. That reconnecting with people is hugely important, and also stepping into that healing space that is usually part of that retreat experience. And people are really yearning for that right now. So that combination is a very important one. And it's if your listeners are coaches, if they are healers, if they do consider themselves transformation leaders, then now is that time to really step into the leadership role and give your people what they really need. And what people really need and what they really want is they want retreats.
They do. They want that connection, and we're ready to get back out there. I mean, with vaccines out and flowing now, and the new variants don't seem as scary. So people are definitely getting back into travel. So let's talk about like the first steps of what that revenue process looks like for people building their retreats.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about revenue. I want to talk about it in 2 ways. All right. I think it's important for people to realize what the short-term revenue options are and opportunities when they host retreats. And then I think it's really important to talk about the longer-term revenue options and opportunities, right? So let's talk about the short-term first. And the obvious area where you can bolster your revenue through retreats is by adding profit into the retreat price. So, a lot of people say, well, how much should I charge? How much should I charge? Well, how much you should charge is first and foremost, making sure that all of your expenses are covered. And I mean all, including your travel, your time, your expenses, and then obviously the cost of the venue, et cetera. So all your expenses have to be covered. Now, above and beyond that, you can charge additional money and fold that into the price of the retreat, and that becomes pure profit. So as a minimum, what we look at normally, and I'm talking minimum, is $100 per person per day. Now, let's say you're doing a 3-day retreat and you've got 10 people. Let's do easy math. That would be $3,000 in your pocket right away, just $100 per person per day. So an extra $300 for that retreat price. So add to that, and you can just go up from there. So it's really up to you how much profit you want to add in, but that's the first place to start.
I have a quick question on that. So for people who are just starting retreats, you have an incredible survey that tells you, are you even ready for retreats? And what do you have to do to get ready? Because the most disappointing thing is to get super excited like I do. I hear the fun part and I'm like, I'm doing it. And then I'm not ready. And it ends up being financially drained and an energy drain on me and a disappointment for everybody. So working with someone like Tamara is amazing because she's honest. She told me, you're not quite ready here. You need to work on this here. And then she gives us the skills to be able to do that. And so she has you do teach courses still, correct?
I'm going to be teaching, actually, I'm stepping back from courses. So I'm going to be teaching my very last one in January because I'm just too busy with the full service retreats. And so I'll be doing one last course in January and February of 2022. But, I do offer on my website, our retreat ready assessment. And that's a 15 question assessment that really lets you take a look at your business and where you are in your business, and then invites you to have a conversation with me and get on my calendar. And as you mentioned, I'm one part East Coast and one part West Coast, and that one part East Coast is detail oriented and straight shooting. So I will tell people, I'll be very, I'll be gently frank, but I'll be honest with people. I don't think you're quite ready with where you are in your business. Let's talk about what you need to have in place. And let's bookmark this conversation and come back to it in possibly 6 months or a year, when you've got these other things in place. So it's never a solid no. It's maybe just a not right now, But you're right. You do have to make sure you have certain things in place. And that was what we covered in the last podcast, is where do you need to be in your business, and when does it make sense for your business to start introducing retreats? And I'll tell you the one thing, and this is my bottom line, do not pass go, do not collect 200, is I really think that retreats are best used as a client retention strategy. So if you're thinking about using retreats to attract new clients, you're usually not in the right place in your business, and that's not the right time to be introducing a retreat. These are really best leveraged whenever you want to enrich the client journey and take your current clients to higher ticket programs and packages. That's when it really makes sense to introduce a retreat, and when it's done most successfully.
I 100% agree with that, Tamara, because you've already built the rapport and trust with those clients, because it's a high ticket amount to go to a retreat. They're taking time away from their jobs, their businesses, their family. They're paying for their travel on top of their retreat. So it gets to be a high dollar ticket. And so the people that I target are my VIPs, basically, that have been working with me, that would die to be in like one-on-one in person and be a part of that. So that's something that I'm so glad that you touched on. Because if I were to go out and ask a bunch of strangers, it would be very unsuccessful. They don't know me. They don't know what they're going to experience with me. We haven't had an opportunity to build that trust and rapport with each other where they're willing to give me that kind of money.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you another thing. You only really want people in the room with you on retreat who are already members of your fan club, where there's already that know, like, trust relationship that's been developed. Trust me, if you have somebody brand new come into the room, unless they're a referral, unless they're a friend of a friend, or somebody, they've already been able to talk you up and kind of establish your credibility, it's going to be a very different experience for you as a facilitator to have a brand new stranger in the crowd. And it's much better. It's just much better for everybody concerned if you're going after your current clients.
So let's take the second part of that, what the long-term revenue opportunities looks like.
Oh, well, let me finish with the short term. I'll do that really quickly.
There's more.
No, there's profit. And then the other one, this other super big one, hopefully, super obvious one, is your upsell. Because I got news for you people. It doesn't stop at the retreat. The retreat is not the end game. So you can build profit into your retreat, but then there should be an upsell, an invitation for people to take all that yummy, juicy experience that they've just had with you, and this deep dive into probably maybe either new material, or you've gone deeper into already existing material you've covered, but there's been some revelations that have happened, some ahas, some advancement in their growth and in their trajectory. You want to put in front of them an invitation to go further with you and take that even deeper. And so there should be an upsell or an invitation for, whatever that looks like for you. It could be that you're moving from a group coaching package to one-on-one VIP days. It could be that you're moving people from individual coaching into a higher level group coaching package. It could look like any number of things, but there should be an upsell.
I love that you're including an upsell, because I will tell you, I've been on many retreats. I've done some, I've been on some, and I always buy the upsell because I'm so excited while I'm there. My energy is like, I want more of this. And I have all the energy from all the other people that are, at the retreat. And when one person says yes, you're like, wait a minute, I'm not going to get left behind. So your upsells are super powerful ways to keep that moving during that momentum. So I love that you included the upsell. It's part of the short-term revenue opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jana, that was a beautiful segue into talking about the longer term. And there's a couple of other short-term pieces I'll just mention. Then I do want to go into the longer term. So another short-term is short-term profit building is on the retreat. If you have books, I know people that sell essential oils, they sell crystals. They have, products that they actually sell. And so you can sell those on retreat and make some profit from that as well. And then there's also, when you get big enough, you can talk about ways that you can save money and put money back into your pocket through sponsorships. So if you have a demographic that's a target demographic, let's say women, let me just use an example, women over 60, and that's your target demographic who are coming off on these retreats, and you're doing these retreats often enough, you can actually approach certain sponsors to give you goodies in your goodie bags, or put, certain, add certain elements to, chocolates in the room, whatever you want to, but that's saving money from you and it's embellishing the retreat. So it's another way that you can put profit back in your pocket. So those are the 4 short-term: profit, upsell, products, and sponsorships. So I would say those would be the 4 ways that you can put money back in your pocket, or new money in your pocket, through the retreat experience. But you touched on something very important when we want to talk about long-term. But let me stop there and see if you have any questions about what I just covered.
Well, I definitely want to talk on sponsorships. When I was doing the On Camera Like a Boss summits, almost a huge portion, 25, maybe even 50% of ours was paid by sponsors. And they would send us enough product to put in these beautiful gift bags for each one of our influencers that came for our photo shoots. And they would, on top of giving us product, they would pay for their space, right, to help sponsor that. So we were like not having to pull a lot out of pocket just to get it going, because we reached out to those sponsors, the right sponsors, right? We weren't going to, I don't know, Mechanics R Us and asking for screwdrivers, but we were going to the right sponsors that were a right match for what we were doing, building a relationship with them, and they were paying for part of our retreat. So sponsorship, don't overlook that.
Yeah. In particular, if you've already you've had a few retreats under your belt, and you can go to a sponsor and prove that you're doing this every year, and that you're successful, and that you're filling it at, at a certain volume, that's when that conversation, that just greases the wheels right there for this sponsorship conversation.
I love it. So I think we've got all of the, it was profit, upsell, sponsorship. And what was the other one?
Products. If you've got products to sell.
Selling products.
Yes. Because some people have, physical products that they can sell, and why not have those at your retreat and make those available? Because, if people are in just such a love fest by the end of a retreat experience, that they just want more of you in whatever form they can get it. So it's the upsell. It could be products. It could be your books, your ebooks, what have you.
I love it. So now let's dig into long-term.
Yes. And part of the good segue talking about long-term is that love fest. So part of the magic, part of the juju, if you will, of a retreat is that amazing connection and bonding. I mean, my whole series is called The Business of Bonding. And I don't call it that for no reason, because I think that people really overlook the community and the connection aspect that happens at a retreat, and how important that is for multiple reasons. You talked about one, which is that when everyone is at the end of a retreat and they feel so part of that, so connected and so part of your community, they want to keep with that community. So when they are purchasing that upsell, it's not only the opportunity to spend more time with you. I've got news for you. They want to stay part of that community because they want to be with Beth and Sue and Joanne and, whoever these people are that they've just met and spent all this amazing time with. So when they see other people signing up, it's kind of this FOMO, this fear of missing out, right? And they want to be part of it too. And they want to, it's kind of like this little, oh, what is it that happened in high school? Like kind of the peer pressure thing, you know, like, but in a good way, like want to be part of it. Right. And so that's an important piece of it. Now, the other important piece I touched on earlier, and that is really enriching the client journey and extending the client experience. Because here's what you need to understand. Okay. Everybody who's in business needs to take a minute to really, really appreciate this. It costs you more to get a new client than to take the time to figure out how to retain and keep happy a current client. So it's worth your while to take some time to think about what are the programs and packages that you're putting together to really extend that lifetime, if you will, of your client being with you, because they have already spent money with you and they will happily, if they've had a good experience, spend more money with you. And they will also bring in the referrals. So there is nothing better for a business than repeat business and referral business. Why? You have spent zero, and I repeat, zero marketing dollars for that money coming in. So it's very important for people to understand. And that's why I say that retreats are so much better utilized as a client retention mechanism and part of your client retention strategy, because they are experiences that can really, truly, sensationally enrich the client journey with you and keep clients coming back for more, whether it's more retreats or more of programs with you, and also bringing the referral business in as well.
By the way, that was so beautifully said, because what I hear from people all the time is I need more people, more people, more people. And they're not really taking care of the ones they already have. And that reflects on your business, your brand, who you are. But if you take the time to really start focusing in on, even if it's like every week I have a customer or a client appreciation day that I really am going to focus by reaching out, personally connecting with a few and doing the things I need to keep them as long-term clients. And I do think that we get caught up in that. We need more, we need masses when we don't. And you said $0, $0, just focusing in on those people who've already put their trust in you.
Yeah. And of course, you know, it's not to say don't spend time and effort putting your funnel together at the beginning. But again, remember this, we're under the assumption now that you've already got something, that some mechanism that's already working for you where you're getting new clients in, right? Now, the important thing is to really spend some time thinking about what you just said. How do I keep my current clients happy? And I'm as guilty as anyone. I think we all there's so much pressure in the coaching world and in a lot of, you know, when we talk about business strategy and you talk to business coaches or you go on to these, webinars and things of that nature, they all are talking about the funnel, the funnel, the funnel. How do you get more clients, new clients? And no one really talks about client retention. And it is hugely important and it is massively overlooked right now. And I think retreats are the perfect place to start thinking about, enriching that client journey.
I love that. I feel like somebody should do a summit on that for sure.
I've been thinking about that for a while, actually.
100%.
There's a whole summit waiting to happen on that topic.
It should be a whole summit waiting. How, like everything I see is get more clients, build your email list, how to do this.
Yes.
But what about showing those clients the kind of love that they've shown you by trusting you, to follow you, to experience your programs? So I think client retention would be huge. And it is one of the biggest things overlooked.
Yeah. And just, where retreats fit in, they fit in so beautifully right now because of what we've been in this pandemic for, my God, how long and counting. And, it's almost 2 years. Can you believe almost 2 years, at least at the time that you and I are having this conversation? And so, we are all just fed up, beyond fed up at this stage. And I have my retreat facilitators who are saying, look, Tamara, I don't care. I need to put something on the calendar because this is non-negotiable. I need to get in a room with my people. And the flip side is they've got clients who really want to get in a room with them because they've only seen them online for a year and a half, or maybe even ever, if that's only been their business model to date. So people really, taking that time to get together in person, there is nothing that can replace it. There is nothing online. There is no amount of online that can replace an in-person experience. And people are willing to pay more for it. And they're now starting to become increasingly comfortable and confident getting together in person, and they're realizing how much they needed. People are still feeling very, very disconnected out there. And it's a perfect, beautiful opportunity for you to think about adding retreats to your business if you haven't already done so, or getting back to them if you press the pause button for the last year and a half. It's time to put something on the calendar.
You know what? I've gotten out of doing them out of the country for a while, and I'm so biting at the bit to get back to those because they're such a beautiful experience. But I wanted something I could control better, and the flights were easier. And I don't know like how they're doing the other countries, but I know that everything's opening up if it isn't already open. And retreats are like, I don't know, you're more localized and like going from this country to that country to this country to that country on one of those long tour trips.
Yeah. And you don't have to go overseas. The truth of the matter is, listen, I want people to do retreats because my bigger vision is I want to really support all of the amazing coaching and healing and transformational work that all of your listeners are out there doing and they're feeling called to do. I feel called to support them through providing this amazing platform of retreats. So I want them to be doing it. I don't care if they're doing it up the block. I don't really care. Do it local, start small, start in your own backyard, but just start. Do your first one. You will learn so much from it. You will glean so much experience and confidence from it. And it will take you to a bigger vision in your business, because once you start to have this conversation about taking people in on the responsibility of taking people in a group offsite somewhere, it forces you to step into a bigger vision of your leadership as well. So I just think it's time for you, it's time for your business, and it's definitely time for your clients to start thinking about getting an in-person retreat on the calendar.
So for those of you who've missed the earlier episodes of this, you've got to go back and listen to them, because she really breaks them down into 4 parts. Like right now we're on revenue, the 4 parts of what it takes to do a retreat. And doing her survey, it's 15 questions, you said?
15 questions, easy peasy. It's a yes, no. It's like A or B.
I think I did it in like under a minute. It really was pretty fast. Like you just go through. And so you'll get an email back telling you, you could either go book a call with her or however that works. But here's the thing. I'm so busy. I don't have time to do retreats. And like, I can just say, this is my idea. I definitely have product. I definitely have sponsors. I definitely have clientele. I have a plan on what I want that to look like. And then I don't have to do anything else. Like you have a whole package deal.
We do. Yeah. Because I do everything from soup to nuts. We even create a marketing page. It's a marketing landing page, payment portal, and registration site all in one. And we create that for you as well. We do everything. I really want to be kind of the Staples easy button of retreat planning. It's what I set out to be. So, all that my retreat planners have to do in our full service packages is market it to their clients, and show up and teach. That's it. And we do everything else. We handle absolutely everything else.
Can I tell you, when I wasn't doing retreats with somebody doing them for me, what happens is you get there and there's all kinds of, especially if you're out of the country, there's confusion, there's airport issues popping up. And I wasn't even really available to do what I was there to do, teach the classes that I came to teach, because I kept getting calls. Someone's stuck here. Can they get a lift there? Can somebody go pick them up here? It was craziness. So when you get someone on board, you can even don't you guys have concierge on the ground that can be there at the retreats?
Yes.
So it's worth every penny of it, so that you can just show up in that beautiful space that you want to be in, not worrying, did someone get from the airport? Oh my gosh, there goes my phone again. It just takes all that pressure off you, and the experience for you, you want to do another one. You're energized as much as them, except instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted, this was a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, Jenna, you just touched on a point, because a lot of people, I will fully support with my blessing if people want to try doing it themselves, and maybe the first time, but more often than not, I have people who come to me who have been doing them and say to me, Tamara, I just do not want to do these logistics anymore. I don't. I end up getting there. I'm exhausted by the time I get there, because I've run myself ragged with doing all the planning myself. And to your point, when you take people on retreat as a retreat facilitator, your role, I would dare say your responsibility, is really just to hold space. It is to be completely, fully present for your folks, for your participants, for those X number of days that you're on retreat with them. And so to have someone else with you who is handling all the logistics, taking care of any crisis issue that comes up, whatever, the soup is cold, so-and-so doesn't like their room, whatever it may be, it's really super beneficial for you to have someone there who can take care of everything for you, and you get to relax and rejuvenate along with everyone else. And that is really how it should be.
And the best part of this is, as you're thinking of the revenue, they are really great about what that cost looks like, right? So I can put it all on paper and it might look beautiful, but that isn't reality, right? They've been doing it all over the world. So they're going to tell you, yeah, that's not a realistic price point, because those aren't realistic numbers, but they seem realistic to us because maybe that's what we do in the US, or that's what we do in another country that we've been in. And when you get there, if you're in a foreign speaking country and you can get maybe one of their concierge or someone who shows up there, they speak the language and you're not at a complete loss trying to use your translator, which that was me trying to use your translator. Like, you say it in there and you let them play it. And then when they say it back, you're like, what? And you're trying to play it back. It was a lot, but it's so much nicer when you hire someone to do this. And I know that a lot of people are concerned about, like, I don't have $15,000 to put in to start my event that I'm hoping to make 30,000 on. You have a plan for that, right? So I don't want people to think, oh, I have to come up with $15,000 to put on my first retreat.
No. We actually have a plan. So I work with people whereby we try the best that we are able to, and that's a very honest conversation we have with folks, to fold my fees, the fees for the retreat planning and all the fees for the services that they would like to have covered, and all of their expenses. All of that is folded into the price that we charge for the retreat. So at the end of the day, they are not out any money at all. And if anything, we're adding profit onto that, or they're making profit from their upsell. So I like to have people go in with kind of a no risk guarantee that they're not going to come out the other end being out money, because that doesn't make sense for anyone. So we want them to have a minimum of 6 participants, which is reasonable. Most cases that's going to be 8 or 10. And which again should be very doable if they've had have had some clients for a while now, and then we set the price point accordingly. And the price point's going to vary. Some of the variables are where you do it, what time of year you do it. Is it a very high cost of living location? Are you going to go high season, or are you going shoulder season? So those are all the kinds of things that we can take a look at to try to bring the price down for you and put more price in your pocket. Let me just say something, Jana, that's super important, that's in relation to price. And I really think this is worth talking about, and that is value. So people get really hung up about, well, what should I price it? What should I price it? What should the price of my retreat be? Here's the bottom line. You need to make your retreat valuable to your participants, because I've got news for you. Think about all of us, myself included, you, all of your listeners. We all have the things that we spend money on. Why? Because we value those things, those products, those services, those experiences, and we're willing to spend money on them. So the more valuable you can make your retreat, whether it's through the venue that you choose, or the location that you choose, or the experiences that you offer, the tangibles that you are going to offer through your teaching, and the deliverables that you're going to offer as the outcome of your retreat, all of those things come together to be able to convey value to the participant, and people are willing to pay for value.
By the way, this is a perfect place to end this whole segment on getting revenue through your retreats. Can you tell people, Tamara, where they can connect with you?
Absolutely. So our website is journeyworkretreats.com. And I know that, Jana, there's a call to action associated with this, and it's an invitation to watch my Business of Bonding video, which goes into a little bit more depth. And then they can take the retreat ready assessment that we've talked about, that 15 question survey. And there's an invitation at the end of that to come on my calendar. So you can either come directly through my website, or you can go through the call to action and end up taking the assessment and come onto my calendar that way.
So all that information will be put into the series. You guys, if you're just listening and you're not able to write it down, you'll just go in and grab the links to both of those incredible offers. Thank you so much, Tamara. I've learned so much. I feel like I've been doing them for years, but I feel like I was maybe doing them all wrong. Oh, I just want to touch on one thing that you said, because I think it's so important. When we think retreats, we think we have to fill it like 15, 20 people. I've done the 15, 20 people. My favorite is 6 to 10, because I feel like I can give each one of those people such personal, individual attention that they walk away feeling like they've received so much value and we've connected in such a powerful way. But when I get past 10 and go to like the 15, 20, I'm not able to do that in 3 days. I'm just not.
No. And so it's interesting. I was just coaching someone this morning and having this conversation. I think the sweet spot, I would not go over a complete total group size of 14, and that includes you and a facilitator. So ultimately a participant group of 12, and then you as a facilitator and one assistant. So total group size of 14. I don't like going larger than that, because you can't get more than that into a half coach if you're going out on excursions, and you really can't fit more than 14 people around a dining room table. And you don't want to start sectioning people off, because that breaks the cohesiveness and, the intimacy of that group. So I don't like any more than 14. I think the sweet spot is 10 to 12 participants, and maybe 8 if you're just starting off and you're going very high end and wanting it very intimate. But anywhere 8 to 12, I think, is really what you should be aiming for.
100%. We can all do that if we have clients, right? So that'd
absolutely
be super easy. Thank you so much for doing this whole series with us. We have loved it. So thank you, Tamara.
Thank you, Jana. It's been my absolute pleasure. And I want more folks out in the world doing retreats, because I just think there's an incredible need for them. So let's get out there, put some retreats on the calendar and make them happen.
Yay.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.